You know that feeling when someone takes something precious from you and parades it around like it was always theirs? When they steal not just an object, but a moment, a feeling, a piece of your very soul. Well, buckle up, because you're about to hear about the day my sister didn't just cross a line. She obliterated it, tap danced on the ashes, and then had the audacity to smile while doing it. Asterisk. Let me start by saying this. I am not a materialistic person. But sometimes you find that one perfect thing that makes you feel like the best version of yourself. For me, that was the dress. I found it 3 months before my 18th birthday in a small boutique downtown. Midnight blue silk with tiny silver stars embroidered across the bodice, flowing like liquid starlight when I walked. The price tag made me gasp. $300. For a high school senior working part-time at a coffee shop, that was astronomical. But I wanted it desperately. This wasn't just about a dress. It was about finally having something completely, undeniably mine. Something that would make my 18th birthday feel as special as it deserved to be. So I worked extra shifts, weekend doubles, catering gigs. For 3 months, I scraped together every penny, declining plans with friends and brown bagging lunches. My sister Zoe thought I was crazy. "It's just a dress, Maya," she'd say, rolling her eyes. "You could get something cute at Target for $30. But Zoe had never had to work for anything. 2 years younger, she was the family golden child, naturally gifted, effortlessly beautiful, blessed with confidence that made people gravitate toward her. Our parents adored her spontaneous spirit while I was the responsible one, the planner, rarely getting the spotlight. When I finally saved enough, Mrs. Chen wrapped the dress carefully. "This was meant for you, dear," she said warmly. I hid it in my closet, checking on it like a worried mother. My birthday was perfectly planned. Family dinner, then a small party with close friends. I would wear my dress and finally feel like the star of my own story. What I didn't know was that Zoe had been watching, studying how much that dress meant to me. And she decided she wanted to know what that felt like. To wear something transformative, to command attention, to be the center of the universe. The problem was, Zoe was used to taking whatever she wanted. And what she wanted was my dress. Before you all start hating me, let me explain. I wasn't trying to be evil. I was 16, impulsive, and jealous of how much that dress meant to Maya. Maya and I have always been different. She plans everything months in advance, has color-coded calendars, actually enjoys homework. I decide on Tuesday that I want to redecorate my room and somehow convince Dad to drive me to 3 stores for throw pillows. She thinks I'm flighty. I think she's uptight. But watching her obsess over this dress bothered me. Not because I wanted it specifically, but because I wanted to understand what it felt like to care about something that much. Maya has always been so self-contained, so quietly confident. I wanted to know what that looked like from the inside. The opportunity came 2 days before her birthday. Maya was working a double shift. Our parents were at some work function. I was alone, supposedly studying but actually scrolling Instagram and feeling sorry for myself because Connor Mitchell hadn't texted me back. That's when I remembered the dress. I told myself I'd just try it on for 2 seconds. See what the fuss was about. Maya would never know. But the moment I slipped it on, I understood. It transformed me completely. I looked in Maya's mirror and saw someone elegant, sophisticated, mysterious. Not clumsy Zoe who says, like, every other word. Someone new. Someone worth noticing. I took a selfie, posted it to my Instagram story. The likes rolled in immediately, along with comments asking where I'd gotten the dress, telling me how gorgeous I looked. That's when Tyler Hoffman DM'd me. Tyler, the senior soccer player who'd never glanced my direction before. He said I looked absolutely stunning, and asked if I wanted to go to Jason Park's party that night. The same party Maya had declined. I should have said no. Should have taken off the dress and pretended this never happened. But I was 16 and stupid and high on feeling like the most beautiful version of myself I'd ever been. So I said yes. The party was everything I'd imagined. People complimented the dress constantly. Tyler barely left my side. For the first time I felt like I was the sister people talked about, the one they remembered. I was careful. Didn't drink except water, stayed away from food, barely sat down. But when Madison Cray accidentally bumped into me while dancing, her red solo cup went flying. Time slowed as cherry punch arced through the air, splashing across the midnight blue silk like blood. I left immediately, driving home with shaking hands and growing panic. At 2 a.m., I stood in our bathroom frantically Googling stain removal while dabbing at the fabric. But silk and punch don't mix. If anything, I was making it worse. I hung the dress back in Maya's closet, stain facing the wall, and prayed for a miracle. But deep down, I knew the truth. I had ruined everything. And in less than 2 days, Maya was going to discover exactly what her loving little sister had done. The morning of my 18th birthday dawned bright and perfect. I woke with champagne bubbles in my chest. Pure joy at finally being here, at this moment I'd anticipated for months. Mom made blueberry pancakes, Dad took the day off work, even Zoe seemed to be making an effort. For a moment, I believed this might be the perfect day I'd planned. "I can't wait to see your dress," Emma squealed when she called. "You've been so secretive about it." "Trust me," I grinned looking toward my closet. "It's going to be perfect." I wanted to see the dress again, hold it, maybe try it on once more. But when I opened the boutique box, the world tilted. The tissue paper was wrinkled wrong, and there was a faint scent of perfume and punch. With shaking hands, I lifted out the dress. A dark red stain spread across the bodice like a wound, the fabric around it discolored from someone's cleaning attempts. "Zoe!" The scream didn't sound like my voice. She appeared pale and guilty. "Maya, I can explain. What did you do?" I held the ruined dress, tears blurring my vision. "What did you do to my dress?" "It was an accident. I was going to tell you." "You wore it? You took my dress without asking?" "I just wanted to try it on. But then Tyler asked me to Jason's party, and I thought." "You thought you'd steal my dress for some party?" I was yelling now. "Do you know how long I worked for this? How much it meant to me?" Zoe's eyes filled with tears. "I was going to put it back. You weren't supposed to find out. Look at it. It's ruined. This was mine. The one thing completely mine, and you took it." Our parents appeared, looking concerned. I turned to them, still holding the stained dress. "Zoe stole my dress and ruined it." Dad's face darkened. "Zoe, is this true?" "I was going to fix it," Zoe sobbed. "I just wanted to know what it felt like. To feel special." Zoe exploded. "You're always so perfect, so put together. I wanted one night to be the special one." "So you decided to steal that from me?" "On my birthday. I didn't mean for it to get ruined." "But you meant to take it. You saw how much it meant and decided you deserved it more." "Get out!" I screamed. "All of you just get out." I spent the next hour crying on my floor until I had no tears left. At 2 p.m., with friends arriving in 4 hours, I had nothing special to wear. Mom came in, settling beside me. "I'm sorry, sweetheart. This is beautiful." "Was beautiful. I worked so hard," I whispered. "I just wanted one thing that was mine." "What are you going to do?" she asked gently. "This is still your birthday. One ruined dress doesn't have to ruin everything." Dad appeared with a small box. "First, happy birthday. Your sister is facing consequences. She's grounded, no car, and getting a job to pay you back. That doesn't fix it." "No. But Maya, you're letting her define your entire day. That gives her more power than she deserves." He nodded to the box. "Open it." Inside was a delicate silver necklace with a star pendant. "Your grandmother's. She wore it to every special occasion. We were saving it for your wedding, but 18 is special too." "Confidence is the best accessory," he said. "You don't need a specific dress to be remarkable, Maya. You already are." I looked in my closet at my other options. A simple black dress I'd worn to a cousin's wedding. With Grandma's necklace. It wouldn't be what I'd dreamed. But it would be mine, chosen by me, worn for me. Maybe that was enough to reclaim part of this day. I spent most of Maya's birthday hiding in my room, alternating between crying and frantically Googling how to fix silk dress, and where to buy midnight blue dress with stars. Every search result felt like another nail in my coffin. The dress was either too expensive, wrong color, different style, or straight up impossible to find. By 4 p.m., I could hear Maya moving around, getting ready for her friends to arrive. Part of me was relieved. At least she wasn't canceling her entire birthday because of what I'd done. But mostly I felt sick with guilt and the growing realization that I'd ruined something irreplaceable. I heard cars pulling into our driveway and peeked out my window to see Emma, Jessica, and Aiden arriving with gift bags and bright smiles. They had no idea what had happened, no idea that I'd single-handedly destroyed Maya's perfect day. Mom knocked on my door around 5:30. "Dinner's ready," she said quietly. "Maya wants you to come down." "She does." I was surprised. I'd expected to be banished to my room indefinitely. She said, and I quote, "It's still a family dinner. She should be here." "But Zoe." Mom's expression was serious. "You need to apologize. Really apologize. And you need to mean it." I nodded, swallowing hard. I'd been rehearsing apologies in my head for hours, but none of them felt adequate. How do you apologize for stealing someone's dream and destroying it? When I came downstairs, Maya was in the dining room with her friends, wearing a simple black dress and grandma's star necklace. She looked beautiful. Of course she did. Maya always looked beautiful, but I could see the sadness lingering in her eyes, the way her smile didn't quite reach them. "Hey," I said quietly when there was a lull in conversation. Maya looked up at me, and for a moment I thought she was going to tell me to leave. Instead, she just nodded toward an empty chair. "Sit down. Mom made your favorite too." It was such a Maya thing to do. Being kind even when she was hurt, thinking of others even on her own birthday. It made me feel even worse. Dinner was awkward at first. Maya's friends could sense tension but were too polite to ask about it. They kept the conversation light, talking about college plans and weekend events, while I pushed food around my plate and tried to work up the courage to say what needed to be said. Finally, as Mom was bringing out Maya's birthday cake, chocolate with raspberry filling, her favorite, I couldn't take it anymore. "Maya," I said, standing up abruptly. "I need to say something." The room went quiet. Emma and Jessica exchanged glances, clearly sensing drama. I know everyone probably wants to know what's wrong, so I'll tell you. I looked directly at Maya, whose expression was carefully neutral. I took Maya's birthday dress without asking and wore it to a party. And I ruined it. Emma gasped. Jessica's eyes widened. Aiden just looked confused. "The dress she worked for months to buy," I continued, my voice getting stronger. "The one she saved every penny for and was so excited to wear tonight. I stole it, and I destroyed it, and My voice broke. I ruined her birthday because I was selfish and jealous and stupid." Maya was staring at me, but her expression was unreadable. "I know saying sorry doesn't fix anything," I went on. "I know I can't undo what I did. But I am sorry. I'm so sorry, Maya. Not just because I got caught but because I hurt you. Because I took something that wasn't mine and destroyed something that meant everything to you." The room was dead silent. Even Mom and Dad had appeared in the doorway, probably drawn by my raised voice. "I know you probably hate me right now," I finished quietly. "And you have every right to. I wanted you to know that I know what I did was wrong. And I'm going to find a way to make it right, even if it takes me years." Maya looked at me for what felt like an eternity. Then slowly she stood up too. "You're right," she said quietly. "You can't undo what you did. And saying sorry doesn't fix my dress or give me back the night I'd planned." I nodded, tears starting to fall again. "But," Maya continued, and I looked up in surprise. "But I don't hate you, Zoe. I'm angry and hurt and disappointed, but I don't hate you." She stepped closer to me, and I could see she was fighting tears too. She set the box on our coffee table and opened it carefully. Inside, wrapped in tissue paper, was a dress I'd never seen before. It was deep emerald green silk, cut in a similar style to my ruined dress but with subtle differences that made it entirely its own. Instead of silver stars, it had delicate gold embroidery along the neckline and hem, swirling patterns that caught the light like captured sunbeams. "I made this for a customer who never picked it up," Mrs. Chen explained. "It's been sitting in my shop for months. When your sister told me what happened, I thought, well, it seems like it was meant for you." I stared at the dress, afraid to touch it. "Mrs. Chen, I can't. I don't have the money to." She held up a hand, stopping me. "Your sister has already arranged to pay for it. She'll be working in my shop after school and on weekends until it's paid off. She's quite determined to make this right." I looked at Zoe, who was crying again but smiling through her tears. "You got a job?" I asked. 3 hours after school, 8 hours on weekends, she said. Mrs. Chen says if I work hard, I'll have it paid off by Christmas. I turned back to Mrs. Chen. But this dress. It's so beautiful. And Zoe doesn't even have her first paycheck yet. Mrs. Chen's eyes twinkled. Well, I suppose I can extend credit to someone who's clearly committed to making amends. Besides, she looked at Zoe approvingly, I have a feeling this young lady will be one of my most dedicated employees. I lifted the dress from the box, and it felt like magic in my hands. Different from my original dress, but no less special. Maybe even more special, because of the story behind it. The sister who'd made a terrible mistake and was determined to fix it. The shop owner who believed in second chances. The birthday that had been saved by love and forgiveness. Try it on, Emma exclaimed. We need to see you in it. I looked around at my friends, my family, Mrs. Chen with her patient smile. Now, it's your birthday, Zoe said softly. You deserve to feel beautiful. So I did. I went upstairs and slipped into the emerald dress, and when I looked in the mirror, I gasped. If the midnight blue dress had made me feel like starlight, this one made me feel like sunlight, warm and golden and radiant. The color brought out the amber flecks in my brown eyes, and the gold embroidery seemed to glow against my skin. When I came back downstairs, the room fell silent. Oh my God, Jessica breathed. Maya, you look incredible, Aiden finished. I looked at Zoe, who was crying again. Do you like it? I asked. I love it, she whispered. But more importantly, do you? I turned in a slow circle, feeling the silk swirl around me, and smiled. I love it. It's perfect. And it was. Not the perfect I'd originally planned, but a different kind of perfect. A perfect that included struggle and forgiveness, mistakes and redemption, sisters who hurt each other and then find their way back to love. Mrs. Chen stayed for cake, and we all celebrated together. An unlikely group brought together by silk and stars and the power of making things right. When she finally left, she hugged me goodbye. Wear it well, dear, she said. And remember, the most beautiful thing you can wear is the confidence that comes from knowing who you are. After everyone went home and our parents went to bed, Zoe and I sat on my bedroom floor, just like we had that morning, but everything was different now. I really am sorry, she said quietly. I know I keep saying it, but I am. I know, I replied. And I'm proud of you for getting that job. It can't have been easy to walk into Mrs. Chen's shop and confess what you'd done. Zoe laughed ruefully. It was terrifying. But I couldn't live with what I'd done. I couldn't stand seeing you hurt because of my selfishness. We sat in comfortable silence for a while, and then Zoe spoke again. Can I ask you something? Sure. How do you do it? How do you always seem so sure of yourself, so put together? I looked at her in surprise. Are you kidding? I'm terrified most of the time. I plan everything obsessively because I'm scared of things going wrong. I work extra shifts because I'm afraid I'm not worth investing in. I saved for months for a dress because I needed something external to make me feel special. But you always seem so confident. I thought about Dad's words earlier, about Grandma's necklace and the best accessory being confidence. I think, maybe confidence isn't about feeling sure all the time. Maybe it's about doing things anyway, even when you're scared. Like you walking into Mrs. Chen's shop today. That took confidence. Zoe smiled. I never thought of it that way. You know what I realized today? I continued. The dress was beautiful, and I loved it, but it wasn't really about the dress. It was about proving to myself that I could work for something and achieve it. That I was worth the effort. And you are, Zoe said firmly. You're worth so much more than I realized. I was so focused on wanting what you had that I couldn't see how hard you'd worked for it. I reached over and squeezed her hand. We're going to be okay, you know. It might take time, but we'll be okay. Promise. Promise. As I got ready for bed, I hung the emerald dress carefully in my closet next to the ruined midnight blue one. I couldn't bring myself to throw the damaged dress away. It was part of my story now, a reminder of how things can go wrong but also how they can be made right again. Looking at both dresses hanging side by side, I realized something profound. The midnight blue dress had been about becoming someone new, someone worthy of notice. But the emerald dress, earned through forgiveness, given through love, paid for through dedication to making amends, This dress was about accepting who I already was. And maybe that was the real lesson of my 18th birthday. Not that external things could make me special, but that I had been special all along. The dress was just silk and thread and dreams. The real magic was in the relationships, the forgiveness, the family that could break apart and find its way back together again. 3 weeks later, I was folding delicate scarves at Chen's boutique, my fingers careful with the expensive fabric in a way they'd never been before. Working for Mrs. Chen had taught me things I never expected to learn. Not just about retail and customer service, but about the value of beautiful things, the care they required, the respect they deserved. "You're getting much better at that," Mrs. Chen observed, watching me arrange a display of jewelry. "When you first started, I was afraid you might break something just by looking at it." I laughed. I was afraid of that too. Maya always said I was too careless with things. "And what do you think now?" I considered the question as I adjusted a necklace so it caught the afternoon light just right. I think I was careless because I didn't understand what things meant to people. Or maybe because nothing had ever meant that much to me. Mrs. Chen nodded knowingly. "And now?" "Now I'm working to buy my sister a dress because I finally understand what it feels like to care that much about making something right." The truth was, working at the boutique had changed more than just my bank account. Every day, I watched women try on clothes that made them feel beautiful, special, transformed. I saw mothers buying first communion dresses for their daughters, teenagers shopping for prom, brides searching for the perfect gown. I began to understand that these weren't just pieces of fabric. They were armor, confidence, dreams made tangible. Maya would stop by sometimes after her shifts at the coffee shop, ostensibly to say hi but really to check on how I was doing. We were rebuilding our relationship slowly, carefully, like archaeologists piecing together something precious that had been broken. "How's the job going?" she asked one afternoon, perching on the counter while I organized inventory. "Good, actually. Mrs. Chen says I have an eye for color combinations. She's teaching me about fabric care and alterations." Maya smiled. "That's amazing. I'm proud of you, you know." The words hit me unexpectedly hard. When was the last time someone had said they were proud of me for working hard rather than for being naturally talented at something? "Maya," I said suddenly, "can I ask you something?" "Sure. Do you forgive me? Really forgive me, not just, 'Sister, forgive me.'" She was quiet for a moment, and I felt my stomach clench with anxiety. "I'm working on it," she said finally, and I appreciated her honesty. "Some days are easier than others. But Zoe, what you did after getting this job, working so hard to make it right, that means everything to me. It shows me that you understand what you took from me, and that you're committed to being better." I nodded, blinking back tears. "I never want to hurt you like that again." "Then don't," she said simply. "It's not about never making mistakes. It's about learning from them and choosing differently next time." That evening, Mrs. Chen called me over as I was preparing to leave. "Zoe, I have something for you," she said, pulling a small wrapped package from behind the counter. I opened it carefully to find a delicate bracelet with tiny silver charms, a needle, a thimble, a small pair of scissors. "For seamstresses and those who work with beautiful things," she explained. "To remind you that creating and caring for beauty is valuable work." I fastened it around my wrist, feeling the weight of the charms against my skin. "Mrs. Chen, can I ask you something?" "Of course, dear. Why did you give Maya that dress? You could have sold it to someone else for full price instead of letting me work it off." Mrs. Chen smiled, the same knowing smile she'd worn the night of Maya's birthday. "Because sometimes the most beautiful thing you can create isn't a dress or a piece of jewelry. Sometimes it's giving people a chance to make things right." By November, something had shifted in our house. Not just between Zoe and me, but in the whole family dynamic. Zoe's job at the boutique had given her a sense of purpose I'd never seen before. She would come home excited to tell us about the customers she'd helped, the new skills Mrs. Chen had taught her, the progress she was making toward paying off my dress. But more than that, she seemed to understand things differently now. She handled her own clothes with more care, she asked before borrowing things, she thought before she acted in ways that surprised all of us. "It's like she grew up overnight," Mom observed one evening as we watched Zoe carefully hand-wash a silk blouse she'd gotten a small stain on. "Not overnight," I corrected. "She's been working at it every day for 2 months." And she had been. Some days were harder than others, Zoe was still impulsive, still dramatic, still fundamentally Zoe. But she was also becoming someone more thoughtful, more aware of how her actions affected others. The real test came in early December, when Connor Mitchell finally asked her to winter formal. I found her sitting on her bed, staring at the invitation he'd given her, looking conflicted. "What's wrong?" I asked. "I thought you'd be thrilled. You've had a crush on him forever." "I am thrilled," she said slowly. "But Maya, I don't have anything to wear. And I can't afford a dress. All my money is going toward paying for your dress." I sat down beside her, understanding dawning. "And you're not going to ask Mom and Dad to buy you one?" "How can I? After what I did. After you worked so hard for yours and I ruined it." She looked at me with tears in her eyes. "I want to go so badly, but I can't ask them to spend money on a dress for me when I destroyed yours." This was it, the moment that would define who we were going to be to each other going forward. The old Maya might have felt vindicated, might have thought Zoe deserved to miss out after what she'd done. But looking at my sister, seeing how she'd grown, how hard she'd been working to make things right, I felt something different. I felt proud of her. "Come with me," I said, standing up. I led her to my closet and opened it, revealing the emerald dress hanging in its place of honor. "Maya, no," Zoe said immediately. "I can't. I won't." "You can and you will," I said firmly. "But first, you're going to ask permission. And you're going to promise me you'll take better care of it than you did the last dress." Zoe stared at me in shock. You'd let me borrow it? Zoe, you've spent 3 months proving that you learned from your mistake. You've worked every day to pay for a dress you'll never even wear because you wanted to make things right with me. If that's not earning trust, I don't know what is. She started crying then. Not the dramatic tears of a teenager, but the quiet tears of someone overwhelmed by unexpected grace. "Maya, I can't ask you to." "You're not asking. I'm offering." "But," I held up a finger, "you have to promise me something." "Anything. Promise me you'll remember how this feels. Being trusted with something precious. Being given a second chance. And promise me you'll pass that feeling on to someone else someday." "I promise," she whispered. The night of winter formal, I helped Zoe get ready. The emerald dress fit her perfectly. We really were almost the same size, and with her hair swept up and just a touch of makeup, she looked stunning. "How do I look?" she asked, turning in front of my mirror. "Like someone who deserves beautiful things," I said honestly. When Connor arrived to pick her up, his jaw literally dropped. "Zoe, you look... wow." "Thank you," she said, then turned to me. "Maya, I'll take such good care of it, I promise." "I know you will." After they left, I sat in my room working on college applications, feeling oddly at peace. I'd thought the dress was about me becoming someone new, someone worthy. But letting Zoe borrow it, seeing her face when I offered it, watching her handle it with such careful reverence, that had made me feel more beautiful than wearing it ever had. Christmas morning brought snow and the smell of Mom's cinnamon rolls and the kind of family chaos that I'd always loved. Zoe had finished paying off my dress 2 weeks earlier, and Mrs. Chen had given her a Christmas bonus along with an offer to stay on part-time even after her debt was paid. "I love working there," Zoe had told us over dinner the night before. "Mrs. Chen is teaching me about fashion history and design. She thinks I might have a real talent for it." Now, as we sat around the Christmas tree exchanging gifts, I watched my sister with new eyes. She was still dramatic, still impulsive, still fundamentally Zoe. But she was also someone who had learned to channel that energy into something positive, someone who understood the value of hard work and second chances. "I have something for you," she said, handing me a small, carefully wrapped package. Inside was a delicate silver hair clip with tiny stars, clearly handmade. "I made it in Mrs. Chen's workshop," Zoe explained, blushing. "I know it's not much, but I wanted to give you something I created myself. Something that was really from me, not just bought with money." I fastened it in my hair, feeling the stars catch the morning light. "It's perfect. I love it. Really. Really." But Zoe wasn't done. She reached behind the tree and pulled out another box. This one larger and wrapped in the distinctive paper from Chen's boutique. "This is from Mrs. Chen," she said. "Well, from both of us, kind of." I opened it carefully to find the midnight blue dress. My original dress, but transformed. The stain was gone, replaced by beautiful silver embroidery that turned the damaged area into a constellation of stars across the bodice. The fabric had been carefully restored, and the entire dress looked somehow even more beautiful than it had originally. How? I breathed, lifting it out of the box. Mrs. Chen knows a restoration specialist who works with vintage couture, Zoe explained, the words tumbling out in her excitement. It took months, and I used all my Christmas bonus money to pay for it, but she was able to remove the stain and then she embroidered over where it had been, so now it looks like the stars are falling across the fabric and... I stopped her explanation by pulling her into a fierce hug. Thank you, I whispered. This is the most beautiful thing anyone has ever done for me. It's not even close to enough, Zoe said, hugging me back. But it's a start. Later, as our extended family arrived for Christmas dinner, I wore the restored dress. The new embroidery caught the light as I moved, and more than one person commented on how beautiful it was, asking where I'd gotten it. It's one of a kind, I would answer, catching Zoe's eye across the room. Made with love and second chances. Maya, 2 years later, as I was getting ready for my college graduation, I stood in front of my dorm room mirror adjusting Grandma's star necklace. My roommate Emma, yes, the same Emma from high school, was helping me with my cap and gown when there was a knock on our door. Package for Maya Chen, the delivery person announced. Inside the box was a dress I'd never seen before. Deep purple silk with gold threading that seemed to shimmer with its own light. The note inside was written in Zoe's careful handwriting. Asterisk for your graduation day. I designed it myself and Mrs. Chen helped me make it. You taught me that the most beautiful things are the ones created with love and intention. I hope this makes you feel as special as you are. Love always, your sister Zoe. Asterisk. Zoe. When I called Maya after she got the dress, she was crying. Happy tears, she assured me quickly, but crying nonetheless. Zoe, it's the most beautiful thing I've ever seen, she said through the phone. You made this? You actually designed and sewed this. I felt proud in a way I'd never experienced before. Not the shallow pride of being complimented on something that came naturally, but the deep satisfaction of creating something meaningful with my own hands and heart. Mrs. Chen taught me everything, I said. But the design. That was all me. I wanted to make you something that was completely yours, that no one could ever take away or ruin. You did, she whispered. You absolutely did. Maya, wearing Zoe's dress to my graduation felt like coming full circle. As I walked across the stage to receive my diploma, I thought about that terrible, wonderful 18th birthday that had changed everything between us. The sister who had stolen my dress was the same sister who had spent 2 years learning to create beauty instead of destroying it. Zoe. Maya looked radiant in the dress I'd made her, but more than that, she looked proud. Not just of her academic achievement, but of us, of what we'd built together from the ashes of that one terrible mistake. After the ceremony, as our family took endless photos, Maya pulled me aside. I need to tell you something, she said. That night when you took my dress? It was the worst thing you could have done to me at the time. My stomach clenched, even after all these years. But, she continued, it was also the best thing that ever happened to us. Because it forced us both to grow up. It taught me about forgiveness and you about consequences, and it made us into sisters who actually know and trust each other. I thought about that as we posed for more pictures, Maya in her graduation cap and the dress I'd made her. Me in a simple blue dress I'd sewn myself during my junior year of high school. Maya. Now, as I write this story, Zoe is in her senior year of high school and has been accepted to fashion design programs at 3 different colleges. She still works part-time at Mrs. Chen's boutique, and last month one of her original designs was featured in the shop's window display. I'm starting graduate school in the fall, studying literature and creative writing, planning to become a teacher. But more importantly, I have a sister who understands that beautiful things require care, that trust must be earned, and that love sometimes means making difficult choices to do what's right. Zoe. The midnight blue dress hangs in Maya's apartment now, carefully preserved in a climate-controlled closet. She wears it to special occasions, job interviews, fancy dates, important events. Every time, someone compliments the unique star embroidery, and Maya tells them it's a reminder that some of the most beautiful things come from learning to repair what's been broken. The emerald dress lives in my closet now. Maya gave it to me permanently when I turned 18, saying it was time for it to belong to someone who would appreciate its story. I've worn it twice, to my own senior prom, with permission requested and gratefully given, and to Maya's college graduation dinner. Maya. People sometimes ask us about that birthday, about how we got past what happened. The truth is, we didn't get past it. We grew through it. Zoe's betrayal forced us both to examine who we were and who we wanted to be. Her commitment to making amends taught us both about the power of consistent action over empty words. Zoe, I learned that taking something from someone isn't just about the object. It's about stealing their joy, their dreams, their sense of security in the world. And Maya learned that forgiveness isn't a feeling you have once, but a choice you make every day. Together, we learned that sisterhood isn't about never hurting each other. It's about choosing to love each other anyway, and doing the hard work of rebuilding trust when it's been broken. The dresses are beautiful, but they're just silk and thread and dreams. The real treasure is the relationship we built in the aftermath of betrayal. Stronger, deeper, and more honest than it ever could have been if we'd never been forced to examine what we meant to each other. Some stories end with villains being punished and heroes being rewarded. This one ends with two sisters who learn that love isn't about never making mistakes. It's about making them right, and never making the same one twice. And sometimes, if you're very lucky, a ruined dress becomes a constellation of stars, and a stolen moment becomes the foundation for a lifetime of trust. The midnight blue dress still hangs in Maya's closet, its silver stars twinkling in the light. The emerald dress still makes its wearer feel like sunlight. And somewhere in a small boutique downtown, Mrs. Chen still helps young women find the confidence that comes not from what they wear, but from who they choose to be. This story grew from a simple prompt about sibling betrayal into something much larger. A meditation on forgiveness, growth, and the complicated love that exists between sisters. Sometimes the worst things that happen to us become the catalysts for the best versions of ourselves. Sometimes a ruined dress becomes a constellation of stars.